Hey, told Yah family at this time, may the peace of Yah come upon you when you learn to obey Him. It's very important that we learn to listen to Yah and return back to the ways of Yah, brothers and sisters. Because what I'm sharing with you is very important. I'm going over some history of our nation, brothers and sisters, and show you a change of our nation, leadership. And you will see how it came about. And so I'm going to start off in Genesis chapter 48 and show you the beginning right here. In chapter 49, and begin with verse 1, it states, And Yaakov called his sons and said, Gather together, so that I declare to you what is going to befall you in last days. It said, Gather together and hear, you sons of Yaakov, and listen to Yasaryaly, your father, see your Abba. So it's very important, brothers and sisters. So now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to his 11th son named Yahseph. And everyone by now know how the children of Yasaryaly, Yaakov, got into the land of Mizraim, they call Egypt, and Kemet, by famine in the land of Canaan. At that time, the land was in the possession of Canaan, because they stole the land. You got to know that history as well. They stole and dwelled upon Shem inheritance. Yes, it's portion. That's how they end up having that land at the time when Abraham came into that land. So now we're looking at Yahseph. They got Yosef, but it's actually Yahseph. And this is the blessings you're going to see that was given to Yahseph, supposed to came on Yahseph. And as I read, I'm going to talk more about it, so let's read it. It says, Yahseph is an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree. An offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. See, talking about by water. His branches runs over a wall. That means blessings that's flowing through him, the fruits. And the archers have bitterly grieved him. Shoot at him and hate him. But his bow remained in strength. Because remember, his brothers 10 sold him to the Ishmaelites, and the Ishmaelites sold him to the Egyptians, the Mizraim, known as Egyptians and Kemet. And that's how he ended up being in there, and he was sold as a slave. Eventually came out and but received the second in command under the Pharaoh of that day by revealing to him on a dream. So remember that, brothers and sisters. So right here, in verse 24, it reads, But his bow remained in strength, and the arm of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Yaakov. See, top of Yah. From there is the shepherd. You see that? The shepherd that lead the nation, talking about the whole nation of Yaakov, of Yasaryaly, the stone of Yasaryaly. You get that, brothers and sisters. From Yahseph, the tribe of Yahseph, was going to come the shepherd, the stone of Israel, Yah. It's from Barah, they got El, but it's actually Barah, the creator of your ancestor. They got father, but it's ancestor who helps you, and by the Almighty who bless you with blessings of the heavens from above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breast and of the womb, the blessings of your ancestors. They got fathers, but ancestors have excelled the blessings of my ancestors up to the limit of everlasting hills. They are on the head of Yahseph. See, talking the blessings are on the head of Yahseph, the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Israel, they got Israel, but it's Yasaryaly, Yah, upright strength with Yah, was upon the head of Yahseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. See that? See, it said the crown, the kingship, the shepherd, the leader, was coming from the seed, the loins of Yahseph. That's what the turning of the tribe of Yahseph. That was into that right there, brothers and sisters. So you can see that out of our 12 tribes, because Benjamin was born when he was taken away into slavery. Then he found out he had a younger brother, but he was appointed the stone, the shepherd that leads the tribes of Yaakov at that time. See, that's why you got to know the outcome, what took place. See, that was the first. He was the chosen one of that day. So remember that from this point right here. So if that's all the knowledge you have, you'll think that it continued that way. But now, I was reading from this translation called the Scripture as well. You can see, now I'm going to go to, since I already have it on that page, to the Living Bible Paraphrase Translation by the Publishing Company, Tinsdale. I'm going to read Psalm 78. In Psalm 78, it gives you some very important information concerning Yahseph and his seed. You got to know this, because without this knowledge, you would think Yahseph is still the stone, the shepherd of the 12 tribes. And the king, the shepherd, is coming from Yahseph. But you got to know history, and then I'm going to give it to you plainly in 78. The follow-up. Okay, I'm going to start off. Where's my notes? I have my notes. I had to remove my notes for a moment. Excuse me, family, because my son had a hold of my notes. In Psalm 78, I'm going to start us off on verse 52 and finish off with 72. So, Psalm 78, verse 52 right here reads, you got to know this history, because why the switch came? Because of sin. Once again, sin is what destroys our nation. Sin is what causes a change. It said, but he led forth his own people like a flock. He talking about Yah right here. The writer's talking about Yah guiding them safely through the wilderness. He kept them safe, so they were not afraid. But the sun, excuse me, not the sun, but the sea closed in upon their enemies and overwhelmed them. See, Psalm 78 is giving you a reminder and show you the whole Psalms how from generations to generation we should remind our children. This was a commission to remind your children of all of your miracles, all the things He's done. I just want to read this and add this into this video. It said, yet, this is verse right here, 32. It said, yet, even so the people kept on sinning and refused to believe in miracles. Talking about Yah miracles. See, at all of Yah showed them and done, they kept sinning and refused to believe the things of Yah. So let me get my place again. He said, but the sea closed in upon their enemies, talking about the Egyptians, and overwhelmed them. And He brought them to the border of He brought them to the borders of His land of blessings, see, to this land of hills He made for them, see. Keep that in mind, He made for our nation. He drove out the nations accompanying the land, the nations that occupying the land, and gave each tribe. Remember how He drove them out by our nation and destroyed them, and then I did some other additional things and brought hell down, fire down upon the Amorites as well, and even stopped at the sun all that day until they were defeated, the kings, and drove out the nations occupying the land, and gave each tribe of Yasaryaly, see, its a portion place as its home. Yet though He did all of these, yet though He did all of this for them. I'm reading this through the monitor like you are on my phone cam, and they still rebel against the Bara above all gods. They got God, the word God is false, but they have it in the translation, above all idols, and refuse to follow His commands. See, this was our nation, brothers and sisters. This is the wickedness and rebellion of our nation. Let me continue. They turned back from entering the promised land and disobeyed as their fathers, see, their ancestors had. Just going over the history account. Like a crooked arrow, they missed the target of Bara's will. See? By not obeying, they turned from the will of Yah, like many do today. They missed the mark. And they made Him angry by erecting idols. Remember I told you gods, it's idols, gods. Right, they got gods, but that right there actually is Bara, the creator. But right here it's idols, what they put early. They turn and follow the idols, the Pazels, the Shemels, the erected idols and altars to they got other gods. See. And when Bara saw their deeds, see, when he saw their works, what they were doing, they asked, His wrath, or his sin, His judgment was strong. And He despised His people. You see that? He rejected them. He despised it. He hated the sin. See? From their deeds, their hearts weren't following Yah. They was walking in their own ways. He despised His people. Then He abandoned His tabernacle at Shiloh, where He had lived among mankind. You see that? he left off from among them, and allowed his ark to be captured. You see that? Allowed the ark of the covenant to be captured. He allowed it, he let it be. He surrendered his honor into the enemy. See, he surrendered his honor to the enemy. See what Abiyah would do when his people disobeyed him? He showed you that time and time. He surrendered, he allowed the things he made to give him honor to be taken and given into the hands of the enemy. See, he said he surrendered his honor into the enemy hands. He caused his people to be, let me make sure I got that right, butchered. See, he caused the people to be butchered because his anger was intense. See, y'all don't play with sin, brothers and sisters. Remember, all of this comes because of disobedience. And dead young men were killed by fire, and their girls died before they were old enough to sing their wedding songs. And the priests were slaughtered, and their widows died before they could even begin their lament. See?